What's up guys, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be making a full review for the Remembrance Festival Final Impress banner. I know I'm late, sorry for that, but I also wanted to test Final Impress. I finally managed to get the character. Final Impress is a Sun Elemental Squad leader. She can actually help you get to very good defenses and even offense when using her. Hannibal is a specialist for counter, very useful for the Megalith Dragon. Then Georg is a full defense support, with Tambora being a damage dealer with lots and lots of RNG. We'll start talking about Final Impress. I know you all want to know about this character. We have 120% STR, 105% endurance, but 121% will. This value is super important because she doesn't want to get inflicted with ailments. 100% agility is just okay. She may not be faster than your other fastest attackers. Moving on, she starts the fight with 13 BP because of her skill number 3 needing 13 BP. Then, she also grants all surviving allies this elemental enhanced sun that will increase sun damage by 50%. Then on the start of a turn, she will always grant this imperial wave. When landing a sun attack, the following will happen. You will recover 3 BP and also grant all surviving allies a defense boost of small effect that lasts for 1 turn. You will decrease damage taken by 15%. You know that this is multiplicatively, but if you have many sun attackers in the party, they can all provide this. But they need to do damage, they need to attack. For example, Sheree is not attacking, but Leon is. It only triggers once, so if you have chases, it doesn't really matter. But the extra 3 BP is amazing, because 3 BP is what you get in Sheree skill. But some characters need even higher amounts of BP to keep using their best skills. We'll be talking about some characters that will join Final Impress later. At the end of 5 turns, starting from the start of battle, that is turn 5, 10, and then 15, stuff like that, she will recover her skill number 2, that we'll be discussing later. When recovery actions are made, recovers 5 EP to herself, and grants defense boost that will decrease damage taken by 35% for 3 turns, just to herself though. That is interesting because since she's not attacking, she's not actually providing that defense boost. But this skill is actually pretty interesting nonetheless. Light of the Sun is the same one that you could use with Maria in the past. It's a fast recovery skill to all allies that at start can be used 2 times per battle, but then you can recharge it every 5 turns. And it also grants evasion for 1 time. The healing effect will be around 2000 if you max it, so it is a very good value nonetheless. And then the full evasion can help you with some strategies, like for example the 7 heroes fight, where the Kazinsi form will try to Soul Steal, and in that case you can evade the Soul Steal attack and you won't die, because Soul Steal takes 99 LP from your character. So in those moments where she's not attacking, she grants at least herself this defense boost. I don't know if she will be the best healer, but her healing is nice. Moving on start of a turn, she gets the defense up that decreases damage taken by 15%, max of 5 times per battle. That's nice, multiplicatively again. End of turn is around 300 HP and also 2 extra BP. Now, when attacked, damage will be decreased by 25% at all times. And then, on start of a turn, she gets this heat up of 15% damage increase, max of 5 times per battle. So offensively, we have 75% and then 50% for a total of 125. She's not really a damage dealer, much like Leon, but she will do a little more damage than Leon. And then we have a lot of defenses, even better than Leon, but not better than Final Emperor for sure. 5 EP per turn is not much, but she gets extra 3 when attacking for a total of 8. Because, well, skill number 1, Celestial Slash, uses 3 BP only, and it recovers HP by very small, that should be around 300, and increases action order by small effect only 3 turns. I don't think this makes much difference, and it will be only useful in very specific situations, but that's not her selling point. It's actually Moon Sparkly Saber, skill number 3 that is fast and global, single target slash and sun, and before attacking applies defense boost that decreases damage taken by 35%. Defense boost of large effect is new, so we haven't seen this in a character that can use it on a normal basis. It's usually medium, that is 35%. And attack, it's okay, triple S power, but Final Impress does not have chases. It's sad because if she had, she would combo well with characters that allows you to trigger effects when attacking and can trigger 2 times, for example, per turn. But the defense boost alongside the extra one that you get by using sun attacks can be pretty interesting. Okay, so if you use it 3 times in a row, you need extra BP recovery. Like I said, she gets actually 8 BP per turn when you account for everything. If you are using Sheree can give as much as 3, so you get to 11, and Leon can give you as much as 3 when he's fully ready as well. So if you're bringing those 2 characters, you will be able to get to a full perfect cycle of using skill number 3. And how much that will impact in your gameplay. So I was doing some calculations here, and she will actually give you a 76-77% mitigation total. And for example, Liz, when using Dragon's Blessing 4 times in a row, will give you a 68% mitigation. So, not accounting for anything else, I'm just considering Final Empress with her 3 stacks of defense boost large and her defense boost small. But again, other characters can be used to give even more of this defense boost, like Leon, like I said, and then it will scale even better. So you are actually using a character that will give you more performance while still attacking when compared to someone like Liz that was meta for a long time, but she was just healing and applying defense boosts and giving BP. Here we get 3 BP instead of 1, but we are not getting the healing. Healing will have to come from another source because, well, nothing here will be perfect. You are either healing or applying defense boost. And the healing is just for emergency situations and for gimmicks, in my opinion. Okay, if you are using Leon, Leon can apply a lot of healings together with Sheree. Nothing else will be needed. Now, okay, we were discussing the character. We can discuss also some inheritances that she can also do 4 times medium if you have her Christmas style. There's Christmas Moon. You can use it 4 times. But even at this point, you will have a mitigation of 73% instead of 77 when using her skill number 3. But if you need a fast AoE attack instead of single target, for example, when fighting versus 270 Spiral, this could theoretically work. Then she has her skill with Karatsu Wisteria Blade that can give you the perfect evasion for 1 hit, but you have to be lower than full HP. If you're on full HP, you have another chance, but that is just 25%. You can get 2 evasions, but it's pretty hard to get those. The other interesting inheritance will come from her Global X style, and it's the Imperial Shield. We all know how good this can be sometimes. It just blocks all damage in a turn, but you can still get inflicted with ailments nonetheless. But none other inheritance will make sense with this character since you don't really need anything else. I will now be talking about the characters that will pair up with Final Empress, and the first one is, of course, Leon. Especially because he just got released some time ago, and Leon has BP battery as well. He gives you up to 3 BP if you keep using his skill number 3, and that's super easy to do if you are playing with both. Leon by himself gets 3 BP normally, and then he gets 1 BP via start of turn to everyone in the squad actually, and then he will then apply the end of turn BP via Imperial Sun's Word. If you use this 2 times, you have extra 3. So he will get 3 from Empress. His skill needs 10. See where I'm getting? Just those 2 together can help them much more than many others. But Sheree is probably the next one, because Sheree is such a good character. And Sheree can also apply 50% defense boost. That is insane, but he has a very costly BP skill. And Empress doesn't really impact this part. Actually, she does when he uses triple light arrows. He recovers between 3, 5, and 7. Now he will always get at least +3 because of her passive, and he can apply the small defense boost when attacking. But you theoretically just want Sheree to keep using skill 3, but it will depend on other characters as well. And just to add, if you are running Empress with Leon, you can get as much as around 86% damage mitigation, And if you are running ScherBR that can use his skill tree every single turn, you can get as much as 96% damage mitigation. All in all, this is just, you know, hypothetical because bosses now have attack boosts and they can increase their damage every turn with every attack. So many countermeasures so that we cannot decrease damage to 99.9. So I believe that ScherBR and Leon are actually the best companions, but they are not the only ones. Alkaiser is old, but he is still a good one, especially because he has Glory Force that can give you one up, guard up, evasion as well. And you can increase damage, reduce damage taken, get this evasion, and you can use it together with Empress to have many gimmicks of evading one hit. Depending on boss behavior, this can be nice. And Alkaiser also applies defense boost, this time medium, and he will also be able to give a third one because of his sun attack. He will always be able to use his skill tree because of Empress. So that's nice if you want to build a full sun squad. Now, some other characters that will combo well with Empress are Maria, but Maria does not really attack unless you inherit, but they are all characters that can also heal and apply evasion. She's also a character that will increase your potential for some number of turns. You can also run, for example, Emperor, but Emperor, he is better off just using Regent Saber. That will enter the defensive counter stance, but he guarantees that defense boost, and then counters with Double Dark Blade. Then there is also Minstrel. Minstrel has sun attacks, as you can see, and he can also get it via inheritance of his first style, Eclat d'Armée. Besides, there is Razen, that is not really a good damage dealer, but if he gets enough BP, he can keep using his skill number 3, and he gets stronger if many people are being attacked. The last one that I can remember being Princess White Rose. Since Princess White Rose also needs extra BP to keep using her Brilliant Notes, that is nice because it buffs and applies Recover by the end of turn and also cleans 2 ailments. That can be useful here and there. And now, the latest character that just got released, Matriarch, and she combos extremely well with Empress. This Matriarch has, I believe, one of the very different passives that give you both offense and defense. 20% damage increase, 30% reduction in damage if you resist, and also 12% chance to evade. And she can double down this by using her skill number 2. That will also benefit from having extra BP to keep this running all the time. She will also apply another defense boost. And you can also inherit an emergency heal if you want. So healing will never be a problem, and your character will be able to revive as well. And Sun squads are nice because of nice support right now. We are missing out on very strong nukers, and that's why I believe that we still cannot make the perfect squad. I know that Hannibal also has a sun attack with his arrow stings, and he can also apply some attack and defense boosts via chance, but it's hard to use it like this. So I think we'll have to wait a little more for stronger sun damage dealers like Goddess, for example. But Matriarch is okay. She feels like an upgrade to Alkaiser, for example. But back to Final Empress. Well, she is a very useful style for those that have the gens and have all of these sun units, or at least can make a full squad of sun units of the characters I just mentioned. If they cannot, well, her utility decreases by a lot. She's not really necessary if you already have ScherBR and Leon. ScherBR, Leon, and I don't know, Matriarch, they will be good enough. But if you want someone that will just make them even better, Final Empress is a very good one. And she is one of the best characters to fight versus the 7 Heroes challenge if you want. Final Empress will receive a 4.5 grade, I believe. Very useful style, somewhat skippable, but also very nice. The next character we'll be discussing is Hannibal, one that we just talked about. He is a damage dealer with 131% STR, 115% endurance and will. Those are pretty good values, but nothing here else stands out. Hannibal starts the fight with 12 BP because of his skill number 3, and he has 2 extra BP as well, for a total of 5. He really needs support from BP batteries, Then, when attacking, he has a 50% chance to trigger this attack boost that increases damage potential, 20% damage increase for 2 turns it can stack. Also, a 50% chance to trigger a defense boost that decreases damage taken by only 15%. Lasts for 2 turns and can also stack. When landing an attack, he always chases with Rising Dragon. That is a very nice skill. Rising Dragon has Pierce and Slash damage, enters an evasive counter stance, and then counterattacks with Swooping Dragon. That is by itself. 4S power attack that recovers HP by around 1.5 thousand. Okay, so when you attack, you have the 50% chance to trigger the effects, then your chase will have the chances, and I believe even the counters have chances to trigger this, because there's no information restricted to saying you won't get when countering. Then on every 3 turns, for example, turn 3, 6, 9, he gets an extra chase. That is called Dragon Spear Cross. That is a double attack, actually. And he had this with his Epaminondas style. Epaminondas attacks with row and then column. B power, pierce and slash. Good thing. You have 2 chances of triggering the effects. Now we also have Intrinsic for 20% damage increase at all times, 40% damage reduction when resisting, and 37% chance to evade resisted attacks. So a little bit of everything, and you can give some defense boosts with RNG for Remembrance versus Megalith Dragon. Right now, we don't have many characters capable of doing so, besides the newest Matriarch, and she can apply 30% damage reduction and another 30% damage reduction. So he can work for you, but it will be very unreliable. He is there for the counter and for the occasional defense boost. Now, for skills, the first one is Glitter Shell Plus, grants the user guard up medium for 2 turns. So that he uses this when he doesn't have VP, and if you are using him for the Megalith Dragon, you can use this on odd turns and then use Flying Dual Dragons or Aerial Strings on odd turns. Flying Dual Dragons can be used once per battle, and this one is just pierce damage, and then we'll apply this passive. When you land an attack, you can recover your HP by around 300, 1 BP, and also an attack boost that increases damage potential by 10%. Will also buff STR by 5%. That's not really big, but if you manage to counter attack multiple times, you can stack just to make a small difference. This character doesn't have many damage passives that are reliable. If you have other cards that will boost his damage, it will be better. So after using this, you have to use Aerial Strings, or you can also use that inheritance from Epaminondas. That is Dragon Spear Cross, because with this, you have more chances of triggering the first passive, so that you may have more attack boosts and defense boosts. And another interesting inheritance is Stardust Plus, because this is a skill with 9 BP cost that will buff break the enemy. Okay, so now you could theoretically use Hannibal on situations where you need a buff breaker, but the enemy does not need to be debuffed. For example, Aspergal is just buff breaking but not really debuffing. So in this case, Hannibal can be good because he can give you sometimes attack boosts and defense boosts that can make more impact. And that is really something that works. I tested it out and it was interesting to use Hannibal in those situations. Or you can just stick to use Aerial Stings anyway. 3 hits of 8 power is a lot of damage, especially if he has the attack boost triggered. Hannibal is a nice character for Remembrance. Can work in hard challenges, it's not really top tier or anything, but okay nonetheless. Because of the buff break, he has added utility, but people will still use him mostly on Remembrance. Final Emperor as a counter is a much better unit, but if you got him because you summoned for Empress banner, he can serve you. I think a 3.5 out of 5 is much deserved. The next character will be Georg. This guy has insane defensive status, 135% endurance, and then 135% will, with terrible status for anything else. 95% SDR, is this 2022? I don't know. Okay, moving on, we have here this, when being attacked, grants lots of things to all allies, like the defense boost, that decreases damage taken by 15%, but just for that turn. Then, slash defense boost, that would decrease damage from just slash, but then also blunt, then also pierce. Okay, so this is similar to what you get with... Okay, that's interesting. Joe? Remember Joe? Well, Joe has it in a similar way. Remember from Flame Force? When people are attacked, they get the defense boost. In her case, it's 25%. In the case of the newest Georg, it is different. It is just 15%. But if the enemy is using physicals, then you have a stack of both the defense boost and the physical type. That would be slash, blunt, or pierce. So theoretically, it is similar, but it needs to be physical. And he needs to be attacked. It's just him here, not other characters. This could be also similar to what we got with Hilda. Remember Hilda? Well, Hilda can do similar. And she applies a defense boost when attacked. See? It's a small effect too. But she also gives 5% status to everyone else's. I believe that generally defensively, Georg is better, of course, than Hilda. And Hilda has the extra taunt. And also this status buff. But Georg has something on his sleeve as well. Georg has much more to offer. But the biggest difference is that Hilda uses S words that we're lacking more support. Georg uses this word, and this is really, really bad. Wielding an attack, he always chases with attacking defense plus. This is a skill that will give himself a guard up medium, decreasing damage taken by 25%, but then he will grant all surviving allies a defense boost of small effect, decreasing damage taken by 15%, lasts for 2 turns, it can stack. Okay, that's not terrible, because at least you have the defense boost. The damage is not great, it's just 8 power. Moving on, Super Screw Guard. That is right. When attacked, damage taken will be reduced to himself by 30%, and if all allies are still alive, they will reduce damage taken by 30%. Also, he buffs 10% damage potential for everyone. Also has Iron Wall Defense 7 to decrease damage taken by 50% at all times. Lots of defense for Georg. He should not die, but the others may. Unless you use something that we'll be discussing in a few. We have Brusque Slice Plus, that is a skill that can taunt. Well, he does not taunt passively. Instead, has to use a skill that costs 1 BP, that gives him guard up small, that clashes with the guard up medium that he already cast by Chase. But you just get this taunt that lasts for 4 turns. But small taunt doesn't really make much impact. But if you are using formations like Rising King, Rising Phoenix, or Imperial Cross, you can place it in the center. Attacking Defense Plus can also be used as your main command, meaning that you can use this defense boost 2 times in a turn, and well, the next turn 2 times as well, but this is not fast. His agility is not that high, it's 95%, he may not attack before the enemy, but 4 stacks of 15% damage reduction alongside a 30% damage reduction and alongside everything else that he gets by being hit is not totally terrible. Just lacking damage. Then we have Holy Guardian. This is not really something that you need to use on all fights. It is support, uses 10 BP, and can only be used once. Will grant the user protective knowledge 2. When an ally is attacked, he has a 37% chance to cover and reduce damage taken. Also, when he is attacked, he will be buffing dexterity and intelligence of everyone by 15%. That can be nice if you are using characters that use those 2 status for damage. And an interesting thing is that sword users don't use this. Well, some can use intelligence, but they are pretty rare anyway. Why? Why don't add the SGR buff as well? Because they didn't want him to crash with some of the recent units. I don't know, but it also doesn't make much sense. Then he will cast a taunt stance that is medium, and it's for the whole fight. But just 1 stack of taunt medium may not be as good as someone like Julian, like Final Emperor, that have lots of taunts stacking and also stealth to the other people. So it won't be as good, but since he has the cover, it can also help here and there, although unreliable. As you can see, this character has some mechanics that will allow him to decrease damage taken to the party by quite a lot, while doing stupidly low damage. He just will barely scratch the enemy, but much like Leon as well, although Leon will do a little more. He is just character that can decrease damage taken by a lot, especially in fights where the enemy attacks multiple times, especially when they are using physical damage, slash, blunt, or pierce. But, well, sometimes you just want a character to fill many different roles, and he's just a sturdy type of tank that does not counter. Sometimes we want a tank that also counter. Sadly, Georg will not be that character, but he decreases damage taken by more than any other tank, I believe, so there is that. But he does not buff status like Endurance or Will like Julian or Fighter Emperor. That is something that you need to consider. He can inherit Moonlight to revive someone in desperation. That now can even be amplified. And from his other style, Christoph could just use this Lapis Light that can buff a lot of status, 40% for someone that you want. Or this Lantern Light Slash that gives this attack boost and overdrive attack boost. But it's just too simple in my opinion. It's not really needed. You can just keep using the attacking defense plus because you want that extra defense boost and not attack boost. They are much easier to find. So Georg is a pretty defensive character that works, but in a place where characters have to do a lot of different stuffs, he will fall off easily. But, well, I think he deserves still a 3.5 grade in our new grading system. As a cover tank, Bear is much better, but Bear is a little different. He does not cast much defense boosts, only to himself, but he can also increase damage potential to the party much higher than what Georg can do. He also buffs lots of offensive status, well, including STR, that Georg doesn't. Doesn't make much sense to me. Moving on, the last character will be Tambora. We have 132% STR, very high. Just 90% endurance and just 80% will. This can be problematic in any scenario, even Remembrance fights. 100% agility is just okay. So moving on, this character starts the fight with 13 BP because he needs. And then he increases the BP dodge for 5 turns. When attacking, you have a 50% chance to get 10 BP. Whoa. You could say that on average you're going to get at least 5 BP per turn. There's a gimmick behind this anyway. We also have start of turn buffs to all status by 15%. That will help a little with his endurance and will being bad. Now we have intrinsic X4, 20% damage increase, then 40% damage reduction in resisting, and 37% chance to evade a resisted attack. Now we need to discuss skill number 2. Blaze Enhancement is a support that can only be used once, that grants the user Fireclad X. Fireclad X is related to the skill Ignition Drive. When you attack with Ignition Drive, then you have a 50% chance to chase with the same attack. Okay, what is Ignition Drive? It's a single target attack with slash and heat damage. It's nice to have the heat part because slash is overcrowded. And before attacking, grants the user an attack boost that increases damage potential by 30%. Or 25% if you are using it as a chase. Then launches an attack with 4S power. That is pretty strong, right? And there's a lot of things related to Ignition Drive. Besides a chance to chase, you also have the passive where, when using this skill, you're going to get an elemental enhance of slash and an elemental enhance of heat damage by 50%. So each usage will give you a 100% damage increase. This can trigger 3 times for 300% damage increase, but only for skills that have both slash and heat. Smash Strike would not be included. 13 BP is quite a lot of BP, and the character does not have guarantee when attacking. But even when you use Ignition Drive, you will already have a chance to chase. And the chance to chase also has a chance to trigger the extra BP. The chase also has a chance to trigger another chase. That's right. One of the few characters that can do something like this. If you have luck, for example, you can use Ignition Drive, get the extra chase, and then keep getting extra chases as long as you have good RNG. And lots of VPs as well. You are lucky enough. The bad part is that if you don't chase at all, you have very low chances of getting extra VP. But he will probably have lots of VP all the time if you are in a good run. Damage can reach very high values if you manage to get plenty of chases, but we have characters that do damage with reliable strategies. Tambora is here just for Remembrance, and Remembrance, you only need to clear the stage once, right? So that is an okay strategy there. Tambora has inheritance, but they don't really make any sense. It's just one attack that can paralyze and an attack that can give you OD points, but Tambora doesn't want to use anything else besides just that ignition drive. I believe that if you got the latest Ellen, you are pretty much served for damage, but if you get Tambora, it can also be used, but future challenges we want cards that have other types of utility, and even Ellen suffers on the Megalith Dragon because you cannot debuff all the time. The enemy will just use debuff cleans and will also buff break you later, so Tambora will just be a damage dealer with nothing else to add to the party. By being such a niche character that has a lot of RNG, I don't think Tambora should be recommended, and a 3 out of 5 grade makes sense to me, but if you don't agree, say it in the comment section. Now that everything was said, is this banner worth pulling for? In my opinion, yes as well, but it doesn't have such a high reward. You can live on with just Final Impress if you want to get the character because you are collecting many Sun attackers. It's okay to pull. If you get Hannibal, he can also help you on Remembrance if you are planning to skip Final Emperor, but Georg is just redundant and Tambora is really mediocre in my opinion. So this banner deserves a Silver Plus award, even if Final Impress is just good, because everyone else's here are just skippable. With all that said, I pulled it here, got all the styles, had to pity Final Impress because I always collect her styles and like her a lot. But if you don't have the gems, you can just skip this one if you want. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if you have a different opinion, say here on the comment section. I hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream. Goodbye.